Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. Well, let's focus now on what is shaping to be one of the big transport revolutions, if not the biggest, of the 21st century, driverless vehicles. And the revolution is already here. This week at the big Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Intel debuted the first of its autonomous car models, utilizing technology that was developed by the Israeli company Mobileye. Now, some of these technologies are already assisting drivers and impacting on our roads, certainly in some ways good, and I use Mobileye in ways, but there are some unforeseen consequences that could develop that will be quite dramatic in the coming years. Well, joining us to discuss them are Dr. Vili Abraham, consumer behavior lecturer and researcher and a marketing consultant. Vili, let's start already. There's some already items in the news that do point on the positive side of moving towards driverless. I guess you call it at this point driver assistance technology.
Yeah, well, there are several advantages. First of all, we're talking about the fact that it will create a very big economy around driverless cars. We're talking about an economy that will be worth around $7 trillion. And this results from several reasons. First of all, fewer accidents. Okay, if we look at what is happening today, a lot of people are dying on the road because of accidents. We're talking about 40,000 in the United States, wow. 1.3 million people around the world. And driverless cars are meant to reduce the number of deaths. For example, if only 90% of cars become autonomous, we'll be able to decrease the number of accidents by around 80%. Another thing is lives saved. As I mentioned before, it is expected that between 2035 and 2045, we'll see autonomous vehicles in about 20 years. So between 20 and 30 years from now, we'll save about 585,000 lives, which is a very significant number. I expect, and analysts expect, that we'll be able to save about a third of lives, so somewhere about 10,000 lives a year.
That's an incredible number. When you mention the economy and the sheer amount of money that's going to go around those cars, certainly that means still a shift in the kind of money, the kind of jobs that are going to be in the transport industry.
Exactly. Well, the thing is that if we look at one of the disadvantages of the autonomous vehicles is the fact that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. According to certain estimates, about 4 million people are going to lose their jobs. We're talking about drivers mostly. We're talking about 4 million. And by the way, 29 states in the United States, the most popular or the most common job is a driving job, so they're going to lose their job. So we're talking about taxi drivers. We're talking about pilots. Okay.
What does that mean for Uber and all of those apps that are, you know, so modern?
All those Uber drivers that took to taxi drivers are not going to lose their jobs.
Exactly. So instead of being a taxi driver, they're going to become controllers of autonomous vehicles from, remote controllers of autonomous vehicles. By the way, something interesting, there's a new project called RoboMart. It's a grocery store which is actually a car that goes from apartment to apartment, and you can pick and choose fruits and vegetables. It's completely autonomous. All you have to do is step out of your apartment, open it, take whatever you want to take, shut it, and you'll be charged to your credit card.
And there's already that technology where you just lift something from a grocery store and it automatically charges you.
And that's going to put a few grocery stores out of business, too. So
exactly.
That's going to be another disruptive impact.
Exactly. Another concern is that if there are not enough autonomous vehicles on the road, we will have accidents, because if you don't have 100% autonomous vehicles, it means that regular cars will bump into you, etc. However, another one is hacking, because there is a lot of computers, a lot of cameras and sensors. One of the concerns is that people will be able to hack and even route your car to a different direction where you want to go. And another thing is that they're not able to operate safely in all weather conditions. That's another disadvantage.
It's funny you mention that, because even, for example, I utilize the Waze, and I've seen some disruption when there is some heavy weather. This is the mapping system. So we already see it in some of these technologies that use satellite imaging. It's already affecting them.
Exactly. I remember using once Waze, and it took me to a very different place where I didn't want to go because it was a little bit cloudy.
But then you at least had your hands on the steering wheel. This is a whole other exercise in losing control when your car is taking you in a snowstorm and you can't even control it.
I got to say something. One of the reasons why we're going to have a very successful economy, or why we're going to have the $7 trillion economy, is because people will not waste time driving, and instead of driving, they'll be busy being more productive, doing work.
Because people aren't busy enough today.
Right. Well,
and they don't have enough time on their iPhones
But
to
I
check
that hour
feeds
drive I
today.
do from Jerusalem, I'm looking forward to being constructive.
Yeah, but by the way, regarding Waze, there's something very interesting that has developed. There's one town in New Jersey where the bans cars from coming into the town because Waze reroutes all cars into the town, and it causes a lot of traffic jams. And traffic jams is something that will be
Quite a
decreased
future we have ahead of us. A completely different reality. It seems like we've been through such technological upheaval over the last just decade, but another big one is coming pretty soon, and jobs are going to look very different. Dr. Vili Abraham, thanks very much for being with us. We're going